Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another view from Tracy's Point Shorts, which you guys know are the little mini videos that I do talking about stuff that's going on social media or in the news. So there was a story trending this week about a young man out of Pensacola named Jacob Copeland, and he was on ESPN. Well, he was actually at his school, and so he was going to announce what college he was signing with, but it was being aired live on ESPN. And I guess they go around and they have like remote setups for all the top prospects, high school prospects, to film them, making the announcement of what school they were going to go to. So Jacob Copeland had narrowed it down to 3 schools. It was University of Alabama, University of Tennessee, and the University of Florida. So his family was there, and they were all decked out in their. It was so weird. The mama had on, well, several members of the family had on University of Alabama sweatshirts, but the mama also had on a Tennessee skull cap or something she had going on. And then there was a couple of family members, like I say, some had on Alabama gear and the other ones had on Tennessee gear. So the young man was sitting there and he had on this red blazer and some white pants. So I'm thinking, okay, he gonna choose Alabama because their colors is red and white. So he makes the announcement, and he had the 3 hats for the schools that he was had to choose from. And so he announces that he was going to the University of Florida. Well, mama jumps up. She's so outraged. Now keep in mind, they're in an auditorium, and then they have the family standing behind him. They're on like the basketball court, and so they have the family standing behind him, and then they have a table, and he's sitting at the table with, I guess, his football coach, his mother, and then I think the grandmother was sitting there. So when the boy picked up that Florida hat and said he was going to Florida, why did his mama get up? And not only did she get up and walk away, she got up and walked around the table and came like in front of the camera, just being noticeably disrespectful. So it was obvious that Florida was not her choice. And so, everybody's been talking about how wrong the mama is, how rude she was being. But before I tell y'all what I think about the situation, I will let you guys know that this isn't the first time that it happens, but it does seem to be a common theme amongst Black mothers, who groom their sons to become these professional athletes, and then they, I guess, like, that's some quick money that they're going to make, and then they can move up out the hood or whatever the situation is. But mama, you were so wrong for doing that. But I, when I was preparing to do the video, I said, well, let me find out if this has happened before. So I was able to find a couple of more instances of mamas behaving badly at National Signing Day. So one guy I came across, I thought this story was so funny. It's a guy named Alex Collins, and he, I think he was from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so maybe something in the juice in Florida. I don't know, because the Jacob guy, he was from Florida also. But anyway, Alex Collins, I think he came out of school maybe in 2012, 2011 or 2012. But anyway, he chose to go to the University of Arkansas. So he had been on a talk show, but he had been interviewed, and he actually made his announcement on that show before the actual signing day. And so I got the video there so you can see how, excited he was, and he seemed clear about his decision.
Boy, Alex, you are something else. Well, the moment that football fans have all been waiting for is finally here. Where will Alex Collins go on to play his college football? Stage is all yours.
Well, that's what I've been waiting for.
Okay.
I'm wanting to get this off my chest for a while now.
All right.
I would like to continue my athletic and academic career at the University of Arkansas.
So when it came down to the actual National Signing Day, why did the mama steal the papers? And refused to sign the papers. So I guess in order for these kids to actually sign with these colleges, their parent or guardian has to sign off on it. Then ESPN reporter, I think his name was Corey Long, he was reporting on the situation, and he was saying that, you know, the mom didn't show up for the signing. And once again, we in a high school auditorium with people looking on. And, you know, it's a big day. There's other kids there that's waiting to do their signing and everything. So mama wasn't no-show. So the Corey Long guy was saying, you know, the papers aren't here. You know, I've been told by two different sources that Alex Collins' mom confiscated the papers and took off and ran with them, and that they was out there currently looking for her, you know, to figure out what she was doing, what's going on. Did she tear the papers up? But then Arkansas ended up faxing another copy of the paper that they need to sign. And the Alex guy, his dad was there, and so they allowed the dad to sign the papers because he was listed on his birth certificate as the father. And then it ended up going to court. The mama hired a law firm, the Johnny Cochran. Remember Johnny Cochran that worked on OJ's case? So he had a law firm, or has a law firm. So she done hired them. Well, not Johnny Cochran, because, you know, he passed away. But she hired the law firm to help her fight this whole decision. But at the end of the day, Alex ended up going to Arkansas. He was drafted in 2016 by the Seahawks, and he now plays for the Baltimore Ravens. And then in 2011, there was a kid named Floyd Raven. And so he was trying to decide between Texas A&M and Ole Miss. And so in this case, he wanted to go to Texas A&M, but his mama wanted him to go to Ole Miss. And so she forged the boy's name on the letter of intent and sent it off to the school. But then they were able to nullify all that, and he ended up going to A&M. And I forgot to look up to see if he actually plays in the NFL right now or not. And then in the next case, we actually have one mother. Her name is April Justin, and April had two sons. One name was Landon Collins, and the other one's name was Gerald Willis III. So in the case of Landon, he committed to going to Alabama on the air, but mama was upset because she wanted him to go to LSU. So when he said he was going to Alabama, you know, she was frowning all up on the camera and everything. You know, once again, we got this public setting that's being televised.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Here with Landon Collins, the #1 safety nationally in the ESPN U150. Who are our two combatants in the national championship game? And are those your two? We know LSU and Alabama. Those are your two, right?
Yes, sir.
I can tell you this, through the world of social networking, your announcement is so highly anticipated, it's unbelievable. First off, how difficult was the decision?
Very difficult. Both teams are just top notch to me, and I feel at home at both schools.
Now, you are literally from Geismar, Louisiana. Let's see if that plays into things here. LSU.
I'm from New Orleans.
You're from New Orleans. Okay, we'll give you New Orleans. But that's still LSU country. I know that. LSU or Alabama, the #1 safety in the country, Landon Collins, will play his ball where?
It's a tough decision. I got both schools here, but I'm going to go with Roll Tide Roll.
Ooh, Alabama gets the #1 safety in the country, Landon Collins. What was it about Alabama?
It's just a bigger decision for me, and I felt home more. And I just love the coaches and the coaching staff and the players that I'm going to be playing with.
Now, might I ask you your reaction? And I'm only doing that because there was not a lot of joy here. Can I ask why?
I feel this LSU is a better place for him to be. LSU Tigers, #1. Go Tigers.
You're making some friends. You're making some friends here at the Trop, no question about it. Alabama, it is. What do you think the hometown, the LSU fans are going to think? We know what one thinks.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Just, I guess you still support me, I guess.
Landon Collins out of New Orleans. Rolling Tide to Alabama. Guys, I don't need to tell you, this is a big one.
Wow. Well, this is a big one for multiple reasons. One, he's a phenomenal player, but two, it looks like he's going against the wishes of his family here.
What do I always say in recruiting? Who do you got to identify? The decision maker. So right now, if you're on the coaching staff at LSU, you've got somebody to pinpoint. But if you're Landon Collins, obviously you've thought long and hard about this decision, and it's not been an easy one. #1 and #2 in the land playing against each other on Monday. Wealth of opportunity.
So the Landon Collins guy, he was drafted by the New York Giants, I think, in 2015, and he just finished his 3rd season with them. So then in 2014, his brother, Gerald Willis III, it was time for him to do his signing day.
Verbal commitment from Gerald Willis III, and I know we're all eagerly awaiting this. The 3rd-ranked defensive tackle, 29th-ranked player in the class, out of New Orleans. And I know your brother, Landon Collins, a couple years ago went ahead and committed to Alabama. Now, your finalists are LSU and Florida. First off, what's the process been like for you, whittling it down to these two?
It's been rough, you know. It's been a tough process, but I finally made my decision.
And April, Justin, I know you're the mom here. I know a lot of folks remember you well from a couple years ago. What has this been like for you going through this all again?
Oh, it's been a wonderful feeling again, but I'm glad it's almost over with. Yeah.
All right, with that, we are ready to go here. LSU or Florida for Gerald Willis III. Where will you play your college ball?
I will take my talent to Gainesville, Florida. Florida Gibbs.
Gerald Willis III going to the opposite division in the SEC from his brother Landon. He's got the gloves on, ready to go. Your take on this decision, ma'am?
It is what it is. Florida Gators, that's where we'll be.
Any easier this time?
Yeah, but LSU's still #1.
And there you have it, Gerald.
Once again, taking the shine off of her son. Now, his story didn't end as good as his brother's own did, because he went to Florida. He was dismissed from the team the first year he was there. So he was dismissed from Florida in January 2015 after several incidents in Gainesville, including 2 suspensions and an altercation with former Gator quarterback Skylar Morningweg. Then he had to sit out a year because he transferred to the University of Miami, and so they had like the NCAA regulation thing going on. But then he ended up getting injured. And he didn't make it back, I don't think. But anyway, so his football career went the way he wanted it to go. And then I think they were hoping that he was going to be able to come back, but he never did. And back to the Jacob Copeland guy, which is the story that's in the news now. So I felt that his mom was very disrespectful. I felt that several of his family members were equally disrespectful, because when he was doing his press conference, they were talking. Like they were just, like the grandmother was talking to, I don't know if it was his sisters, because it was like 2 younger girls. They were talking, having a conversation, and then there was a man with them. I don't know if he was an uncle or whatever, but he came and he sat down at the table with him, to comfort him and everything. So several things came across on social media. #1, Jacob said that he thought that his mother's behavior was hilarious, and that if you know his mom, she always got to be the center of attention. Well, that was not the time for her to show out or be the center of attention, because that was your moment. And that pretty much set a precedence about your family. And so now people are going to be checking for y'all just to see what kind of shenanigans going to be going on. And so when you're at the Florida games and they're being televised, the camera going to be constantly on your mama to see if she acting the fool. So don't try to downplay what your mom did, because it was not right. It was disrespectful, and it dampened your moment, which should have been like the happiest day of your life as a teenager. Your mom like destroyed it, because now instead of you celebrating the fact that you signed with Florida and you're going to college to fulfill your dream and continue your education, you're defending your mother and your mother's behavior. And nobody wants anybody talking about your mom. And there were some people that was really coming for his mom. So I really understand how he was feeling in that moment. Then I read a post that the reason the mom wanted him to go to Alabama or either Tennessee was because she wanted to get him out of Florida, because I guess he has some friends that are members of a gang, or he's been dibbling and dabbling with some gang members, and that whatever this gang is, they have a really big presence in Gainesville. So she's afraid that if he goes to Gainesville, he's going to be involved with this gang. And if that is true, I can understand her feeling that way. But he made the decision. You know, he's a grown man. I think he's 18. You know, if he ain't 18, gonna be 18 soon. So I would rather him go somewhere that he says he wants to go than for you to force him to go somewhere that he doesn't want to go. Then the other thing that then there was another Facebook post that he made the night before the signing, where he actually stated that he was planning to go to Florida, but his parents and his family wanted him to go somewhere else, and that they needed to understand that, you know, it wasn't their choice to make, and that they should just be happy for him and be proud for him. And so he was already prepared that, you know, they weren't going to be happy when he made the public declaration. So I don't know if he expected his mom to do what she did, or if he just expected his mom to not be happy about his decision. So I just think that at the end of the day, you know, a caution to mothers. Your job is to raise your kids and prepare them for the next step. If your child becomes a successful athlete, and he has options and he has opportunities, let him make that decision, because he is the one that's going to be at this school. And he's the one that's got to be happy, that's got to get acclimated like you're going to be back home. And if the end game is for your child to get into the professional sport of their, you know, if it's baseball, football, whatever, then you should just be happy that they have an opportunity to continue along that path. And so no matter how upset you are, don't ever embarrass your children like that. So, you know, for mothers that have sons to come along or daughters to come along, like, just chill out and pull back. And then I read a story today where they were taking that post he made about his mom being hilarious, and they were trying to spin it as it was a stunt. But I don't think it was a stunt, because he was visibly upset. He could barely talk. He was about to cry. I think he did cry. And then I was kind of bothered by the fact that the announcer from ESPN, who was in the studio at ESPN, when the mom got up to walk away, you know, he was like, with Jacob, who was that walked away? So he said, well, that was my mom. And he says, well, why your mom got up and walked away? So he just like egging it on, knowing that they're on national TV. And so, you know, he was trying to be strong and speak and say, I guess she wasn't, you know, happy about my decision, but I have to follow my heart and do what's best for me. And so then while he's talking and he's breaking down and crying, can't get his words out, Mama comes back. And so he had gotten up and walked around to the front, and I think he was shaking somebody's hand or something. I can't remember what he was doing at that point, but I'll post the video. And she wants to hug him then, you know, so then he really gets emotional and breaks down because he's happy his mom came back. But I'm like, sister, that was a little bit too late. Like, you really, I think she owes that boy a public apology. She needs to come back and, like, you know, my parents used to say, you know, I'm going to show out when you show out. So, mama, you need to call a press conference and publicly apologize to your son for the way that you treated him. But I do love the fact that the other family members, even though they had on Tennessee gear, well, actually, I think the one guy had on Tennessee gear, but then his girlfriend had on a red dress, which I guess reflected Alabama. But they were very happy for him, and I think the girl actually started crying when everything went down. And then, you know, of course, the audience, they were clapping and cheering from him when he said that, you know, he prayed about it and he just had to follow his heart. So that's it for me on this topic. Don't be embarrassing your kids. It's not your life, it's their life. And you know that regardless of what college he goes to, if he gets drafted into the NFL, you ain't going to care what team it is. You're going to be right there. And you're going to be trying to collect that money, get your big pretty house. So just chill out and just be supportive of your children, because going away to college is a hard thing and they're going to need your love and support. And I have no doubt that his mom loves him and supports him. She was just wrong in that moment for what she did.
But I like now that I'm taking my time to for the next 3 to 4 years.
You got, so, Jacob, you're going to Florida. Who just got up and left there, and to your right? Who got up and left?
Oh, that was my mom.
And why did she walk out and leave?
I don't know. I don't know exactly why she walked out, but yeah, it is. I don't know.
So guys, leave your comments below and let me know what you thought about the whole Jacob Copeland situation and about mamas in general, you know, showing out and embarrassing their kids. Rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.